Denver, the Mile High City with the Broncos, that QB room, in my opinion, with Jarrett Stidham, Bo Nix, obviously the newly drafted first-round rookie, and Zach Wilson. Like, they got one of the most fascinating rooms. Like, what are you hearing about that competition? I've done some tweets and some videos about Bo Nix and how he's looked in practice. What are you hearing on the ground there?
Yeah, so let's just start big about the Denver Broncos as a whole and what's going on with their football team on the ground. The pace, the effort, the intensity there, I'm told, is significantly better than it was last year under Sean Payton. Things have picked up. There's already been a standard that is being established here that already feels different than last year. And some of that's from the young players, which I think is really interesting, especially because you and I sat with Andy Reid together and we talked so much about how he doesn't have to instill that culture because of the veteran players like Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. Denver doesn't really have those kind of players yet, right? They don't have those. They have a few studs, but not at that level. So the fact that the competition has risen on the field, that is then sort of supporting what Payton wants, which is a really tough, hard training camp. You've been through a Sean Payton training camp. What's his standard?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I say they're awful, but Denver, at least there's no humidity. When we were in New Orleans, and they were even at a college in Mississippi before I was even there. But when we were in New Orleans, it was like you practice at like 8 a.m. and the second you walk out of the hotel room, the glasses are fogging up. It's 90 degrees, 95% humidity. And you're out there and they're just really long practices. And it's like, hey, it's like old school because he's a Bill Parcells guy. And so how Bill Parcells ran his camp, it was almost exactly like Sean Payton runs his camp. It's tough, hard-nosed. It's inside run. You're hitting your live goal line periods. I mean, it's almost like the Bill Belichick type thing. And so he takes it down here. I think he's probably trying to put his stamp on that team. They weren't tough enough, in his opinion, last year. So every time I've been in a Sean Payton camp, even for quarterbacks, I mean, they condition every day. That's like not normal. I think you would say with most newer and younger head coaches, where after practice in full pads, you're running half gassers. And he's doing that to it's like sort of Andy Reid. Andy Reid's camps are really hard too. It's like you want to push these guys to the brink on everything that they do. And when they do that, I feel like they're more calloused. That's the word he used, like the calluses that you get on your hands. You are very well equipped to deal with anything thrown your way. Now, there is a push and pull with it because you got to have healthy guys. You got 17 games, maybe more into the playoffs, 3 preseason. But yeah, they're not a lot of fun as a player.
Here's my takeaway from what I'm hearing big picture with what's going on in Denver. This is why the Broncos hired Sean. This is why. For what vision he has, and almost like they're drinking the Kool-Aid of we'll call it the Parcells Payton way style. That's how he wants it, and that's how he wants it to look and feel. And it sounds like these young guys are really coachable, and they're buying into that, right? So then you have the quarterback room. Let's get into this, right? So Bo Nix has had a really good camp so far. The difficulty from playing college, you know better than anyone, to going to the NFL, it's a substantial step that you need to take. But the fact that he is able to get in and out of the huddle without any issues, the offensive line isn't getting called for offside penalties, things that we heard so much of last year, but I'm hearing out of Denver, this stuff is already getting cleaned up with a rookie quarterback. In terms of what Bo Nix has shown them there, they know that they've got something that they can build off, right? So what's always a rookie quarterback's best friend? You always hear this: a strong run game and a good defense. Remember when Drew Brees went down in New Orleans and Teddy Bridgewater had to step up, and they're playing Seattle.
He went 5-0.
He went 5-0. I remember I was at the game, and it was raining. It
was.
LA. Yep. I remember it. And they won because everyone steps up when they know that the guy's down, right? That Drew Brees is not in, and it's Teddy. But also just the philosophy of we need to get better everywhere else to help the quarterback. I think there's going to be a similar approach to this of we all got to be better to help the rookie as he's going to grow. And it appears they're already really happy with the growth of Bo Nix. So
yeah, I think just breaking them down, Bo Nix, like in college, watching him, 30% of his passes were at or behind the line of scrimmage. And so that sort of turned me off for a little bit and turned me away from it. But I remember speaking to the offensive staff for the Denver Broncos while they were in the middle of this quarterback draft process. And one of the things they told me is if you take that 30% out, and you take the yards away and you take the touchdowns away, he was top 5 in passing in every single category. So that was a little bit of a stat that I was like, wow, like, okay, I just thought he was dink and dunk, screen stuff, and he wasn't. And so that gave me a little bit of a better picture on how the Denver Broncos viewed him. It is interesting to hear you say that about the no pre-snap penalties, no offsides, none of the stuff that comes with a rookie quarterback. He has the most starts in NCAA history. So he's got the most experience out there. So that probably played into effect. I think he's 23, almost 24 years old. He's not like a young 20, 21-year-old. So he's played a lot of football. He's played at Auburn, obviously, went on to Oregon, had a heck of a career. It's just a little bit surprising to me that Bo Nix is going to end up with a chance to start, because I know that Sean Payton offense, it is so wordy. It is every single time you're at the line of scrimmage.
I asked some people there about that, because anytime someone tries to explain to me why it's so complicated, my thought is always, well, why doesn't he just simplify it? Apparently, he's doing things to help the rookie in helping understand it. So maybe those days of the long play call that we saw with Drew and with you is no longer. Maybe he's finding ways to make it easier for Bo, especially knowing the type of offenses he comes from. It's obviously a different language and verbiage than what Sean Payton uses and how he calls plays. But what do you know about Jarrett Stidham? Because as great as Bo Nix is, Stidham has the advantage because he knows the offense.
Yeah, he knows the offense. But the thing about Jarrett Stidham that really got him on Denver's profile was the 2 starts that he had in Vegas, and he was actually in San Diego with Drew Brees working out, and the Broncos sent him out there to sort of tap into Brees' mind about the offense, about his routine, and he wanted to be out here too. So I actually got a chance to work out with him as well. So it was really cool to pick his brain on what he thought of Sean and what he thought of offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi. Pete Carmichael comes over, the old offensive coordinator from the New Orleans Saints. He's now there. Zach Strief, a former player, is the offense. I know so many of those guys, and they're great dudes. But what with Jared, I think it was cool for the Broncos to send him out here and to, hey, go out there and pick Brees' brain for a day. I mean, I think he was out here for a day. Like, it was like, hey, let's go throw, let's have some film session, or how you view filming. Let's go work out. Like, they're in the car together riding. So I think that was really good. I think they feel really good about Jared. I think he's done a lot of really good things to put him in this position, even if he's not the starter behind potentially Bo Nix.
Yeah, and I think the fact that the focus of this team isn't just obviously the development of the quarterback. That wasn't their only issue last year. I know you touched on a little bit of the toughness and some of the things that they want to fix in terms of discipline, especially on that offensive line. There were times where it did not look good. But I think building this team around the rookie is obviously going to put Denver in a really good position. But the fact that you're hearing so many good things, and this quarterback was picked by Sean Payton, right? And we've discussed him so much on these shows already, because he does have such a strong personality and approach to things. And he is one of these, if he loves you, he wraps his arms around you and pulls you in tight. Yeah. And he loves Bo Nix. So we're going to watch to see how he grows with him and helps him and make sure he stays out of the way of all the problems that we see young quarterbacks, go through over the years as they adapt to the NFL.
That's good. I mean, I think that the one thing about Bo that's just interesting to me, he's sort of the forgotten man in all the first-round quarterbacks, right? He was the last quarterback taken in the first round. And it's so funny because I want to temper expectations and for listeners and even you, it's like, it's great that you hear all these good things, not just about Bo Nix, just training camp in general. You hear all these good things from teams. Well, of course you're going to hear all the good things from teams because they want you to buy into what they believe and their philosophy. And I think it's great. And I believe in Sean Payton's philosophy. However, if the Broncos were picking number 4 or 5, they weren't taking Bo Nix. I'm going to be honest with you. They were taking one of the other guys. So, yeah, he loves Bo Nix, and that's what he was given to him. So I just want to play both sides of the spectrum. Like, I think Bo's going to be really and do really well in that system. And I'm glad that they've come around to love him. But remember, he was like 12 or 13, so there were 5 other guys to go in front of him.
Yeah, I know. And I feel like we could probably do another episode one day and look back at the draft because there's definitely, I feel like what we're being told versus what the reality was doesn't always line up. Denver will tell you to their blue in the face. This was the plan the whole time. They were playing games with the Giants. They were playing games with the Patriots. They called the Washington Commanders. They were doing all this, but knowing that they wanted Bo Nix.
Yeah.
That's their truth. If they want to believe it and live in it,
it's
see
all about
how
the system.
Bo Nix...
When the quarterback goes to a place, Diana, it's all about the system and the people they put around. So listen to you, hearing what you know. It's going to be a success, in my opinion, with Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos.
Thanks for tuning into Scoop City. If you want to hear more, make sure you like and subscribe. We drop our new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.